Bernard Fisher is president of the Glacier Garlock Bearings Company, and he has dealt with issues of competing with foreign competition and staying local. He's opted to keep his company in America and is still able to win advantage over his foreign competitors. He stands behind his choice by saying his company is selling the value of a relationship with the organization rather than the price of the products to his customers. This goes to show that staying put and nurturing the relationships already established is beneficial for the company, and that going global is detrimental and leads to stress within the company-customer relationship.
Thank you, Ms. Fuller. This question is just for Juliann. How does going global affect other countries around the world?
Mr. Bosman, I believe that globalization can have both positive and negative effects on other countries. Globalization is supposed to reduce poverty and raise the standard of living within suffering nations, but in fact, it's actually doing the opposite. Since globalization is deteriorating the quality of working life as we know it, jobs that were once compensated by full-time wages and benefits in the United States are now being exploited and underpaid abroad. Due to regulations set by the World Trade Organization, also known as the WTO, underdeveloped countries are often misrepresented in the global marketplace. In order to enter the WTO, nations must be able to clearly state what they have to contribute to the international trade. With that being said, globalization often creates hierarchy among nations, with the more developed nations on top thriving and the lesser developed nations on the bottom. Without the resources they need to progress. In certain nations, if certain nations are unable to participate in the global marketplace, the marketplace is primarily monopolized by a handful of economically dominating countries such as China and the US. Underdeveloped countries such as Liberia and Cambodia, among others, find it impossible to work their way to the top due to the constant change of the progression of globalization. Although globalization is a good idea in theory, the reality of it is that it has made the rich richer and the non-rich poorer.
Thank you, Ms. Butts. This question will be for Mitch. How does entering the international marketplace affect a company's profitability and their ethical standards?
All right, well, for a company to make the jump to international market, there are a great amount of risks, but the rewards are just too hard to ignore. With the whole world full of possible consumers, the United States has just been ignoring this untapped market. People's first allegation is that American companies going overseas are exploiting the advantages of cheaper labor, perhaps. Yes, in fact, there have been specific cases of unfair treatment, and everyone who is in this business disdains all of those companies. This unfair treatment usually increases the company's profits and lowers their expenses. But companies such as Nike are trying to make amends for these accusations. They were guilty of this exploitation, but have made recent steps to try and mend these issues. They partnered with Save the Children, a company that focuses on helping third world children in education, healthcare, or any other maintaining life issues. Nike and Save the Children teamed up together to make a collaboration effort to educate women in these third world countries that haven't been able to have an education or provide health care in the past. And through this and different steps that they're taking, have addressed the problem of ethical standards in overseas business. Beyond taking advantage of these lower expenses in the foreign market, there are specific changes in the market demands that sometimes the US just can't meet. A story in the New York Times recently has shared one of these small businesses. Ethan Siegel, a native of Manhattan, is a small business owner of special high-end audio systems. After the 2001 terrorist attack, his building maintained significant damage, and their US customer base depreciated greatly. But through a series of mishaps and weird events, they started gaining more traction in the foreign market. They were getting demands for more of their stereo equipment from countries such as Finland, and this confused Siegel because he had done very minimal advertising overseas. But once he realized that this trend was happening, he decided that he was going to market towards this new country and this new market. Through that, he managed to gain a stable ground in the international market. He still maintains his headquarters in the United States. All of his employees are still in the United States. So therefore, sometimes doing international business doesn't require you to ship your jobs and American careers overseas. And this is a huge testimony to how Americans should be doing business. The import and export of America is horribly unbalanced. The imports outrank the exports in an unfathomable ratio. So small companies such as this are making a huge impact on that ratio. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Breton. This next question will be for Laura. What are the social and economic benefits of going local and keeping businesses within American soil?
Sure. To set the mood for this question, I'd like to share a quote with you. Prosperity follows when ownership, production, and consumption become intimately connected with place. Mr. Michael Schumann said this. He is the Director of Research and Economic Development at the Business Alliance for Local Living. I would have to agree with him. When consumers take part in nurturing locally owned and operated businesses, they're not only helping out their neighbors who own the business, but they're also stimulating their local economy. Supporting local enterprise not only circulates money in your local economy immediately, but also produces returns in the long run when tax time rolls around. In the United States, there are approximately 22 million small businesses. According to the Small Business Administration, these employ about 53% of the workforce and currently generate more than 50% of the U.S. gross national product. Supporting local businesses and American-based companies will keep these statistics high and our jobs home.
I'd like to ask the same question to Ms. Butts. What are the social and economic benefits of going local and keeping business within American soil?
Well, in addition to having a local stimulated economy, as Ms. Fuller has stated here herself, keeping businesses local also supplies a particular area with a sense of community. When one buys local and domestic, they can rest assured that the money they are spending is going to go directly towards one of their neighbors or their friends. For example, in Austin, Texas, a group of small businesses have recently come together and created a discount card that can be used at most local businesses found in the city. This discount card not only benefits the local business community, but it also encourages community reliance on the local marketplace rather than big business retailers, The Go Local card allows for locals of Austin to identify local businesses while allowing local businesses to build strong and beneficial relationships with each other. It is relationships like these that make for lively and happy communities with a feeling of safety and trust. That brings back the old-fashioned hospitality that America has built its foundation on.
Thank you, Ms. Butts. And before we start Q&A, we'd like to do a quick little conclusion about what everyone said. Ms. Fuller spoke against globalization, believing that it would hurt the U.S. economy. Mr. Breton believes that in order for a corporation to be successful, it needs to go international, but as he stated before, it does not need to, the company does not need to go abroad to become successful in international business. And Ms. Butts, who believes that if companies do go global, then the relationship between that company and the U.S. will be strained.